topic today is protein. Now, I am learning so much, especially from having had different diets. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about protein. So, we need protein. Protein is the building blocks of life. A complete protein houses 20 amino acids, and 9 of them our bodies don't synthesize, so we will have to obtain them from the diet. The purpose of protein is to build the body, help it to resist disease, for repair, for growth, oxygen transportation, nutrient absorption, for hair, skin and nails. There's lots to protein, right? It helps to regulate blood sugar as well. So there are two classes. You have incomplete and complete proteins. We get complete protein from animal products. That is meat, red meat, chicken, fish, eggs, and dairy products. And then the plant-based protein is known as incomplete, and it's because it doesn't have the full range of amino acids. We'll then need to combine foods to make a complete protein, like brown rice and black beans. That will make a complete protein. So for the vegans and vegetarians, we will need to make sure you're combining your food in the right manner to help you keep your energy up, so the protein is doing all the processes that it needs to throughout the body. The ones that the body doesn't synthesize is called essential. And here is the list of the essential amino acids. Now, how much protein do we actually need? It is according to your activity and, of course, your weight, your body weight. Those are the main factors that will determine your requirement of amino acids. But the estimated amount is 1 gram to 1 kilogram of body weight. So if you weigh 65 kilograms, you will need to consume 65 grams, approximately 10 to 15% of your total calorie intake. Your total calorie intake is the energy that your body is required all day to complete your tasks, even while you're sitting down, if you're raising your hand, when you're resting, when you're just sitting down. That's called the basal metabolic rate. That's your resting energy. Then you've got plus your activity for the day, whether you're driving, walking, going to the gym, dancerizing, shopping. Did I say that already? Any activity you have to do, plus your resting energy, is your total calorie intake. What is a calorie? Units of energy. 1 unit of energy is 1,000 calories, but that's a whole different thing. So, as I said, the food groups are different to match your diet. You'll get your complete and incomplete. Anyway, combining food in the right manner will give you exactly what you need for your day. You know that when you feel satisfied, when you're not feeling dizzy, you're not feeling hungry, and this is from each meal, you won't have any side effects, no bloating, you won't have headaches like you would. Your energy will be sustained, you will have sustainable energy, and that is combining with food. So portions, the Eat Well guide, I will always recommend you look at the Eat Well guide. To me, that is how we put our foods together. That's how our plate should be looking, and how we consume even fruits and vegetables throughout the day. And then the fats that we should eat well, guide. Okay. For athletes, it will be a case where they are doubling up their intake. There was a case study of a guy who always went to the gym. He wanted to gain muscle, and his friend's advice was, all you need to do is eat some protein, bro. And their thought was that consuming lots of protein is the way that they gain weight, but in fact, gain muscle, sorry. But that's how you gain weight. You will gain weight or fat that way, because it will be converted into fat if it isn't used as energy. Here is a case study based on a true story about Mike. Now, Mike wanted to gain muscle, and he needed to figure out how. Mike had made good progress for a year or more with his bodybuilding. After a while, he noticed that he was no longer increasing in his muscle bulk. At first, Mike was not concerned, as he was aware that it was more difficult to gain muscle after the first year, but he had made no gains for a considerable amount of time. So he began to eat a lot of protein. Friends at the gym told him he needed to eat a lot of protein to increase his muscle bulk, so he began eating half a dozen of egg whites for breakfast, a protein shake during the morning, chicken breast for lunch, another protein shake in the afternoon, tuna for tea, and yet another protein shake before he went to the gym. This was all topped off with a steak or fish for dinner and a protein shake before bed. That's a lot. At one point, Mike even tried a tuna shake. It was costing him a fortune, and he was still not making any gains. Finally, in desperation, he contacted his health coach and asked her to analyze his diet. If Mike's protein intake exceeds his body's protein needs, the body cannot store excess protein anyway, but it can be stored as fat. And yeah, his health coach did an assessment and found that he was eating 3 times more the amount of protein recommended. Mike was not consuming enough total energy to support his physical job, heavy training and muscle growth. And I think he had to have, like I was saying before, he had to have a balance. Because he was more concentrating on protein, he needed to focus on the other areas of nutrients, such as carbohydrates and fiber. Those were relatively low, and it's actually important to consume a balanced diet, especially if you are trying to gain muscle. But then later on, he did what his health coach advised him to do, and he began to see his results. He gained more energy, felt more healthier, you know? So yeah, protein is a thing where it needs to be carefully looked at. And just because we eat, I think, I never knew about this whole 7 essential nutrients. I just knew I needed food to eat, and that was it. I never knew they existed in separate forms. I heard of the words fiber, I was used to fiber, and I started hearing about protein as I got older. But knowing them in their own compartments, I don't even know what to call it, each of them, seeing that they are individual things that are required for our bodies to be working at optimum level, is a different science. There's a different science when consuming food. When it comes to supplementing protein, there are different. There's whey, soy, pea, creatine, and casein. When it comes to those, I don't think we actually need to supplement. I'm seeing, as I've experimented with creatine, that even comes from food we eat. It's synthesized in the body as well. I've also had pea protein from Nuzest. I've had vanilla, I can't remember what it's called, vanilla protein, and a green Vita. Green Vita is amazing. I even started seeing changes in my hair. What I did with that one though was get a promotional pack. Like I said, I did see an improvement in my hair shedding. It was less than it usually was. The vanilla pea protein, it actually helped me to open up my appetite. What protein is supposed to do though is, I'm going on a bit, I need to close out. It's supposed to help us stop a gap. So if we don't want to actually eat, we can drink. You know, in the form of shake, if you want to have a small snack that covers our requirements, we have the snack, you know. But the shake I was having, I'm calling it shake, the smoothie, the drink, it actually made me hungry instead of making me feel like I'm full. Yeah, that was a good thing. At the time, it was a very good thing. Now, the diet that I'm on, I'm not using any other protein apart from food, actual food sources, so it's just easy that way for me, you know. So for now, that's it. I'll see you in the next one. Let's move it.